What can we learn from the Detroit Lions game against the Minnesota Vikings? What can you learn about the first 2 weeks of the season, the way the Lions played Philadelphia? I think it's really interesting, and we're going to learn a lot about how good this offense is going to be on the road at Minneapolis against a pretty stout defense of the Minnesota Vikings. Dan Campbell talked about that offense earlier yesterday. Here's his thoughts on the Lions offense.
Those two guys are pretty dynamic players for us. When you got those guys and you got, Reynolds and Shark on the perimeter and Hawk in the middle, Goff's got some weapons to go to.
Plenty of weapons, including Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds catching a touchdown pass last week. Here's his thoughts on the Lions offensively.
I mean, it just shows you, be able to score 36 points and we leave a lot of points out there. It just shows you how explosive this offense is and how explosive it could be. As long as we execute every play like it could be the play of the game, and it could be.
This offense, scoring points, is doing a hell of a job. Yeah. And closing out that game, too, Bray, last week, it was their offense that closed it out, not so much their defense. It was the offense that kind of punched back. We're going to learn a lot about these guys this week on the road.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about these guys on the road. You're going against the defense in Minnesota. Obviously they didn't look too good in the first half yesterday, but once again, that's a pretty good team over there in Philly. They're going to get tested. Like, this is a perfect time for them to get tested. They're scoring 35.5 points, and like you heard Josh Reynolds say, they left points out there in both games. You heard Amon-Ra St. Brown at the podium after the loss to Philly say they could have put up 50. But that's what I love about this team so far. That's what I like about them. Let me say not love. Well, actually, yes, that is what I love about them so far. They're not just taking things in stride. Like before, you would see moral victories. Like the Lions come that close to beating Philly in years past. You would hear a lot of moral victory things. You would hear a lot of thought process moral victory-wise. And, we were right there and we had opportunities. We just couldn't close it. But, we played a lot better and we're not the same team. And then a win against the Washington Commanders, you would have thought they won a Super Bowl. It would have been like, we're just clicking right now and we're doing all the things that Dan Campbell taught us. They are not settling. They are not complacent with where they're at right now. Everyone in the country, including Detroit Lions fans, is excited as hell. They're over the moon. Oh, man, the Lions look like something special. Lions fans, man, I told you we can win 10 games. This guy over here.
I still think that, by the way.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, this wasn't me coming at you.
No, I was just because I didn't follow up with the I never mentioned my own. I asked you guys about has your thing changed, and I never mentioned my own.
Well, you can.
It has not.
No,
I still think 10's the number.
Well, and it should. You're right. Last year it was 11-1 for a certain school up north. So hey, you might be right again, and I think you could be. But it's just the non-complacency that they are. Everyone else is complacent for them, but the Lions aren't. You hear that. You hear they have more to give. DJ Chark hasn't even gotten going yet. Josh Reynolds had to catch a touchdown.
Is there concern about him?
A little bit, but I think you're still trying to find like the fullness of your identity. Mm-hmm. You can run the ball. You can pass the ball a little bit. I think they're trying to settle. Where are we? What's going to be our wheelhouse completely? And I think they're trying to settle in that. I mean, you look at last week, DeAndre Swift had 5 carries, but he had 11.6 yards a carry. So Jared Goff had 256 yards passing. 4 touchdowns. So they're going to figure it out, but they got to get DJ Chark going. Because one thing will happen with guys, especially at the wide receiver position, especially now, because wide receivers are getting off. Like guys that were getting off often and early in the NFL. You go 2, 3, 4 games and, you're not catching touchdowns or you're not catching 5, 6 passes. It's like you start to get antsy. You start to get, all right, when you guys give me the ball, and then next thing you know, they throw you the ball, you drop it because you're not ready and you're pouting. So got to get that guy going a little bit. That's one guy I want to see Jared Goff have a little bit more connection, and also Hockenson.
Just a couple of national guys I wanted to bring up. Des Bryant, former number 88, great for the Cowboys. He tweeted out on Sunday, hey, what did I tell you about those Lions? And then did you see your man Marcus Spears?
I did.
What did Spears say?
Put up Marcus Spears' tweet if you have it, Fletch. He basically said the same thing. What have I told you guys? What does Dan Orlovsky and I have told you guys about this Lion team? It's the first tweet I put up on the page there, Fletch.
But here's the one thing that you got to be careful with individuals, and here's a tweet right here. I can't really read it, but it's you guys see it. If you guys are watching this, you guys see it. The thing you got to be careful with about these analysts, the national analysts, is because Dan Orlovsky's been saying that. But Marcus Spears has been hating is just like everybody else. Marcus Spears has been cracking his jokes in the morning and talking about, he's like, oh man, it's the Lions and blah, blah. Be careful who you take your compliments from, because everybody can go back and say, man, what have I been telling you? I've known Marcus Spears since before the draft. That's my guy. He was not saying that. Dan Orlovsky was.